the other day, and it's like a useless conversation. I'm trying not to fucking rage on you right now. I'm fucking talking to you.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. That's the type of shit right there.
I'm so fucking relatable and funny and sexy.
Stop. Well, I don't like when Sophia calls herself sexy, and every time she describes herself, she throws that in there for no reason.
I'm pulling today's episode, okay?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hits Podcast. My name is Oscar. This is my sister, Sophia. This is our podcast. It's called the Hits Podcast. HTS, no I. Sophia is an annoying motherfucker. She's being herself right now because we always kind of call for like 20 minutes before we start the actual podcast. And Sophia was really just being herself today. And that's okay. But if you're me, you're tired of that shit, right? Right now, we're here. And she was set up and I was kind of finishing setting up. And she was like, okay, ready to go? And I was like, no. And she was like, in 3, 2, 1. And I was like, I said, no, I'm not ready. Hold on. And then she was like,
hurry up.
And I was like, I'm not ready. And she was like, okay, in 3, 2. And she just says it again, like immediately.
I gave you 3 more seconds. Like,
no, I didn't even act it out right. She literally was like, in 3, 2. And I was like, no, hold up, I'm not ready. And she was like, okay. In 3, like immediate, like it was gonna make a difference. Anyways, what else was I gonna say? Oh, it's also funny. Sophia.
No, it's not. Oh, is it me?
Sophia, like,
is it something?
She's so.
Oh my god.
She's so okay with being wrong in a way that I've never been. Like in my life, like when I think of things, here's the thing. I think if you know me personally, or if you've known me personally,
this sounds like an insult.
I think you would say that I always have to be right about everything. Like you would describe me as that type of person, and I don't agree with that. Generally speaking, I don't think that I have a desire to be right. I think that I just have a desire to for the truth to be known,
not be wrong.
No, for the fucking truth, whatever the truth is. Whether I arrive there, you arrive there.
Speaker of the truth.
No, whether I arrive there, whether you arrive there, as long as we arrive there. That's what matters. It's not about who was right or wrong. Anyways, Sophia don't give a fuck about that shit. Sophia will be wrong. She doesn't care. Like what? She just as long as she has an idea, she's good. She was showing me the weird because Sophia's on a sourdough journey. So we were talking about sourdough, and then she was like, I want to make this bunny looking sourdough.
I just baked a bread today.
She's like, I want to make a bunny looking sourdough. And I was like, I saw one of those, it looked like
for
shit.
Easter.
I was like, I saw one of those, it looked like shit. And she was like, nah, I want to make a good one. And I was like, okay. And she was like, and I want to make this. And she showed me some healthy potato chips. Sophia's also on this, she's on this sourdough journey, but she's also on this just health, homemade, organic bullshit journey.
I want not just healthy in the sense of
non-processed,
a
non-hormonal,
not necessarily diet food, but gut healthy stuff. You know what I mean? I feel
she's gonna be a farmer.
My life. Listen, I feel like most of my life, when it comes to eating healthy, the only healthy that I connected in my brain was chicken breast and broccoli. You know what I mean? And that's healthy food, and everything else is just kind of food, you know what I mean? That's the unhealthy stuff. So now I'm branching in, I'm broadening my view on what's considered healthy. You know what I mean?
Broadening.
That's what I said.
Oh, sounded like broadening.
I might have.
Anyways, see now it's not about being right. It's about you're deviated from the truth that is the proper word and articulating yourself.
You got what I meant.
Let's see. This is what I'm saying. This is my point right here. Sophia doesn't give a fuck. So she was showing me. She was like, "Look at these healthy potato chips." I was like, "Those look like shit." And she was like, "Yeah, but I want to make them."
They look so good.
And she was like, "Look, you get potatoes, and then you peel the potatoes, and then you slice them, and then
you slice them."
I'm an old lady nerd, so I was immediately, as soon as she said you slice them, and I was like, well, you're making potatoes. You want them to be the same size. So I was like, do you have a mandolin? And Sophia, as I was saying, do you have a mandolin? She was like, you slice them, and I got the Mandalorian and everything.
I do.
And I started laughing, and I was like, you fucking idiot. I was about to ask, do you have one? Good on. Here's the thing. This is where I'm just ever so barely slightly proud of you. You knew that it was a thing, and you actually have one. You don't have the name right, but you knew it was a thing, and you knew that it was
what it was.
You knew that
it was something
it
like
was
that.
useful, and you knew that it was necessary in this situation, right? So that's all good. Anyways, that's out to the little Mandalorian. Anyways,
he's got a scratch on his face.
Yeah, Sophia scratched.
Because Oscar's broken, he can't afford a new one.
Anyways,
Loser.
So shit like that, where Sophia Sophia, like, she's so close and she's right there, but she does this. I think in her brain, it's this thing of like, close enough, right? It's just like if she's trying to think of what it is.
Listen,
If she's trying to think of what it
it's
is,
weird.
she arrives somewhere and she was like, I'm not sure this is there, but I think this is enough for people to know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then she just like
'Cause
accepts
listen.
it there and it just ends. Like,
listen. Because, okay, I don't know how people think, but let me give you some insight on how I think, okay? Let's say I'm trying to think of like a word, right? The mandolin? I think that's it. The mandolin, right? In my head, I'll picture what it is, like the actual shape. Or actually, we'll do it with this, because like this is here. It's a water bottle, right? This is called an owala. And then in my head, I picture the word, like owala. Like I could see the word, but somewhere from seeing the word in my head and coming out, I can't remember. Like there's like a disconnect with certain words where it's like it's almost there, like kind of like it's on the tip of your tongue, and I'm like it's like it's right fucking there, like it like flashes in and out type of thing, and then I'm like close enough, and then I say it. That's like how I think when I can't think of like the actual name of a word, you know.
speaking of that, one of the things I have written down, I have two things written down because I wrote this one thing down because it happened. And then I wrote another thing down because the original thing reminded me of it. Damn, I have a lot of topics. Okay.
Oscar likes talking.
You know what I don't like?
A lot
that
of
Sophia
things.
does?
Oh,
I don't like
a lot of
because we
things.
have a shared TikTok account, right? And
We
we
do.
kind of just openly and freely like follow whoever. I don't fucking like when Sophia follows someone and then I have to see their videos and then I kind of actually enjoy some of their videos and then I start to talk to Sophia about the videos of the person she followed. And I'm like, yo, I saw so and so's video the other day where they did this, and that. That was cool. And Sophia's like, who? And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean who? And she's like, who's so and so? And I was like, the
Ooh.
fucking bitch you followed about the fucking sourdough shit. And she was like, oh, Eloise's mom?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that's not, she has a fucking name, Sophia, you dickhead.
She's Eloise's mom. Everyone knows that once you have kids, you stop being your own person and you just start living for the child. Therefore, her name doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. She's Eloise's mom.
I tried to tell her what's up. I was like, I saw one of the Gigi girls videos. She's like, who the fuck is Gigi?
Who?
And I'm like, the chick that does the sourdough, the Long Island accent and all that shit. And she was like, Eloise's mom? And I was like, she has a name, you dickhead. Anyways, that shit bothers me. That's some shit where it's like, where it's just like, I feel like it's just like childish. Like it's not that hard to just know their name. Like,
Well,
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Because Oscar yelled at
No,
me.
here's the thing. Sophia can kind of get away with like, yeah, that's Eloise's mom because that girl constantly is talking about Eloise and is like, she's beautiful, she's my daughter.
She's my daughter.
She's my daughter. Anyways, but even with other people, she's the type to do that shit where like there isn't that like
what? Like what?
honestly, I was thinking
But you
about it.
can't think
The
of
only person
anything.
I was trying to think of was Anna Sitar, but no, you always said her by name. Anyways, here's the thing.
Yeah.
What this reminded me of, Sophia. So,
Me.
not to complain about Sophia some more. This is my last complaint about you on my list. Promise.
No, it's not.
On today's
This
list.
is
On
fucking
today's
for real.
list.
On the list, but through the episode, I'm sure I'll do something to annoy you. And you're like, oh, here's another reason why I hate Sophia.
This motherfucker invented
She's
grape
so fucking
soup.
sexy.
Sophia was like,
I did.
right now in the call before we started the podcast, she was like, have you ever had grape soup?
Good soup.
Grape soup. And I was like, no. And she was like, I was like, what the fuck is that? And she's like, it's when you have grapes in a bowl and then you fill the bowl up with water and the grapes and then you just eat it like that. I was like, did you fucking invent that? She's like, I just invented it right now, you fucking idiot.
Because I was rinsing my grapes.
And then she was like, what if
And
I
then I
just
was
eat
like-
it like that?
And I was like, what if I just eat it like that? And then in my head, I chuckled. I was like, ha, grape soup. And then that's when I was like, hey, Oscar, I didn't have
Bro.
grape soup,
I swear,
but I almost did.
I swear 90% of what we talk about in post is so useless and
It's
stupid.
about me.
But I
Um,
think within
Dang.
no,
So useless. It's about
well, maybe yes. I'm just kidding. But if you look at it
Cry.
through the frame of these are siblings just bullshitting the way siblings do, I still think it's funny. Like, yeah, me and my sibling were talking about this bullshit the other day, and it's like a useless conversation. I'm trying not to fucking
I'm
rage on
sorry.
you right now. I'm fucking talking to you.
I'm listening.
No, you're
you
not.
said it's useless, but you're like in the frame of it. It's not useless. I can multitask.
It's not that it's not useless. It's that it makes sense that you're having a useless conversation because it's your sibling.
because we're siblings.
Anyways.
I know.
Another thing I hate about Sophia. See, you did give me something to complain about.
I told you.
She's always distracted. Anyways, no, what I was going to say.
I wasn't distracted. Oscar just can't
What I was going to say.
And he gets so
okay,
jealous.
well, she never gives me her undivided attention. How about that? Is that better?
You're such
I feel
a
neglected.
bitch.
Sophia, so, you know how, like, if you're giving someone directions and you're like, yeah, you got to take the 10, you got to exit on Avondale, you got to go down to Van Buren, then you go here, right? And she's like, and then some people are like, cool, great. And then some people are like, I don't know where that is. And so then with those people, like some people are street people and then some people are landmark people where you're like, okay, get on this highway, go. When you see the main event, you're going to exit like 2 after that. And then on the first lights, you're going to turn left. And then when you hit the community like sports center, you're going to turn left again. You know what I mean? Some people know streets, some people know landmarks. Right? Drive until you see the McDonald's, turn right at the McDonald's, then turn left at the Walmart. Whatever. Sophia already knows where I'm going with this. This son of a bitch doesn't know either.
To be fair, I just moved to a new city. How am I supposed to know
fuck
either?
her. We can go back to our hometown that she lived in for 23 fucking years. And if we're like, if we're like, yo, we're gonna go to wherever, and Sophia's like, where's that? And we're like, it's on Yarbrough, and she's like,
where's that?
Where the fuck is Yarbrough? And we're like, it's the one where the fucking, I can't even think of a landmark, but it's the one where this, and this is. I don't know where that is. She don't know. She never knows like landmarks or fucking streets or anything. But anyways,
listen, some people, let me fix your phrase, okay? Some people are street name people, okay? Some people are landmark people, and the baddest bitches are Google girlies, okay? And I'm a Google Maps girly, okay?
Google girly, that's funny. That was your argument? That's it? Like, that's the end of it?
That's it. That's the end.
I just realized you just shut up and didn't expand on that at all.
Enough said.
Anyways, that's the type of shit right there. You know how I said, like, you drive me crazy, but I think if we actually had an audience, there would be a lot of girls that are like they feel understood by you. That's the type of shit right there.
I'm so fucking relatable and funny and sexy.
Stop. Why I don't like when Sophia calls herself sexy, and every time she describes herself, she throws that in there for no reason. Like, it has nothing to do with what's going on.
It's not for no reason. It's because I'm sexy.
Anyways, I don't like hearing it. Anyways, do you have a topic? Because I got more topics.
Just throw them out there. Rapid fire that
she's
shit.
Just lazy. She just doesn't want to think and fucking...
I think I'm pulling today's episode, okay? You come with the topics, I make them funny, okay?
Damn, didn't notice you were playing chess and I'm fucking over here with playing checkers and shit. Anyways, so I fall asleep listening to shows and movies, right? So I was listening to Rick and Morty the other day, and then I woke up, and when I woke up, it was the fucking the episode where Morty's like tired of Rick and they're fucking broken up and whatever, and Morty gets the little portal on his hand. You don't even know which one, do you?
I think I do.
He gets the portal on his hand, and then on the other side of the portal there's a dude, and the dude has the portal on his leg, and they like become buddies. And then he's like, yeah, let me go rescue you, or let me go hit you up wherever you're at. And then he goes and he finds him, and he's in a fucking mental institution, like an insane asylum, right?
And he was like...
And then he goes and he visits him, and then he goes to visit, right? And he's all fucked up, like beat up and shit. And then he's like, what the fuck happened to you? And he was like, the guards like to beat us on Sundays. And he was like, oh my God. Morty's like, oh my God. And then the dude is like, it's all good. Still better than Mondays, though. And then Morty was like, what the fuck happens on Mondays? And then the dude says, he goes, they like to hold us down and lick our faces. And he goes, plus it's Meatloaf Day, right?
Yeah, Meatloaf Monday.
And it's hilarious. Obviously. It's hilarious. They like to hold us down and lick our faces. And he's like, and Morty's like, what the fuck? And then he's like, plus it's Meatloaf Day. Whatever, right? So that's funny because it's weird, kind of random. And the fact that you're framing it in a way where being held down and having your face licked is worse than being physically beaten. That's the joke, right? I was watching it, and then I took it a little literally for a second, and I was like, imagine if someone, like, if you had to torture someone, or if there was torturing to be done. I'm like, what kind of a fucking psychopath, what kind of a fucking psychopath's preferred method of torture is licking someone's face. Like from the guard's end
I would
of it.
eat onions before I do it
From
too.
the guard's end
I
of
fucking
it.
like, I wouldn't brush my teeth for a week. I slice up
Shut up.
fucking onions and then like blend it and just like mouthwash that shit and be like, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And then even when it's over, you can still smell it and you're still reliving.
And your eyes
What
are burning
happened?
and you're crying and shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a fucking idiot. So anyways, here's the thing about Sophia. It's not always what she's saying that's funny. The thing that I'm laughing at right now predominantly is the way she fucking like she looks so fucking stupid. Anyways, shut up. I'm getting to my point. No, this is the point of my story. I was thinking about it for a second, and I was like, what kind of a fucking weirdo do you have to be for your preferred? And then also, at some point they break out, and then the guard is there, and he's like, don't run, so-and-so, the inmates, whoever, the fucking dude's name. He's like, go ahead and run. It only makes the cheeks saltier. And like, right? Because he's all sweating and shit. And so then I was thinking about it for a second, and I was like, what kind of a psychopath's preferred method of torture is licking someone's face? That's insane and ridiculous and absurd and weird. And this and that and whatever. And then it clicked in my head.
It's more of his kink, not his.
Okay, well, you didn't have to say that because now you made the story so much worse. It clicked in my head. I've done that.
You fucking freak.
Not in like a kinky way. I'm not telling that kind of story to you right now. My preferred method of torture has been to lick someone's face before in the past.
Oh yeah!
Yeah! So, let me tell you a little more. Not backstory, but more to the story.
Funny.
I have a cousin, and she's about my age. She's like a year older than me. And growing up, she was one of the only girls among like all the boys. And her dad was really into like fighting and wrestling and this and that. And we were into like the UFC, and like I wrestled in high school and this and whatever. So we were like an MMA family-ish in a way. So we would often fucking wrestle and just like tussle with each other like all the time just for fun on some bullshit, right? So a few years ago, we were both like 22, 23. And then this isn't really relevant to the story, but she had a kid, and the kid was on he's our cousin, like we've talked about him before. He was only like 3 or 4 at the time, right? So he was like 2. Like he wasn't even he was tiny. He was like tiny. Little. Yeah. Like he couldn't communicate with you or anything. He was like 2, right? So we were like 20, 21. And so this is also what happens in our family because we just fight or just fight with each other or just wrestle or this or that. I don't remember who it was, but they were like, yo, jumper. So like me and her dad and her brothers and my other cousin jumped her to where like we just kind of like swarmed her. And it was just like, like just bullshit, tiny little like pats, like, and because you'll do that to kind of like a doggy pile, but just like, or like this. And she kind of like, and we kind of like took her down, and she kind of ended up on the floor. And then everybody was like standing around her, and some people were like just little fake soft punches or little fake soft kicks, like, take that, kind of take that, blah, blah, blah. Or like her dad was like kind of wrestling her, like on like kind of holding her down, and then everybody else was like doing whatever. This is where I'm a fucking weirdo. I know nobody's actually hitting her, nobody's actually kicking her, nothing's actually happening, right? She's being kind of swarmed and surrounded, and it's uncomfortable, and it's like
overwhelmed,
and like her fucking big ass dad is laying on her, and she's like, right? And then maybe someone's like poking her or this or that. I was like, there's not that much space to like really get in here and like do anything of significance. And I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time punching or kicking. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something that actually like really bothers her. But it doesn't really hurt her at the end of the day, but it's so bothersome. Right? Like a balance of like super bothersome, but not super painful and like mean and unnecessary. So I circled around to her face, which was like surrounded and getting kicked and shit. And I fucking went and stuck my face in her face, and I licked her like just like this. Like just the very tip of my tongue, ever so slightly.
Fucking freak.
Like on her cheek, like this. Look, from here, like that, but slow like that. And it was literally, you know how like when Voldemort touches fucking Harry's scar in the Goblet of Fire, and he touches the scar, and Harry's like, and he's like just touching the scar. It was like that, where like I went and I was like, and as I fucking licked her cheek ever so slightly like this, she literally, as soon as I touched her, she was like, ah! And then as I licked her cheek, she was like, ah! Like, and the thing is, she hadn't been screaming at all. She hadn't been screaming. She hadn't been laughing. She hadn't, like, it wasn't like that big of a deal that was going on. Like, nothing super crazy. Like, it wasn't super bothersome. But when I fucking licked her cheek, she, like, that's when she fucking, like, like started losing it.
And then shortly after.
Well, this is where I was going to mention her son, but it doesn't really matter to the story that I'm telling.
No, but
it's still funny. It's so
funny.
He was like 1 or 2, and so he didn't even know that we weren't actually beating up his mom. And so he like fucking he came running over, and he was like fucking ah! And then like we all kind of stopped, and then he kind of just like jumped on her and like what's happening? But he like came and kind of like ran into her and then kind of fell because he was like uncoordinated and he was like a year old. But he was
and he like fell on.
But he was crying because he was like, "Oh my god, what's happening to my mom?" And then we all stopped and we're like, "Okay, maybe we're."
Cutest
it was fucking adorable.
It was adorable because I
wasn't
dogpiling her because I'm civilized, but I was just like pointing and laughing at her because
she's not that fun, not that civilized. She's
I'm
not a girl's girl.
You know? And so I was just like, oh my god. And then when I saw him, like, because like he like it's so funny.
He just like ran into the commotion and
no. Like there's an age where when kids run, they're kind of like waddling, like you don't know if they're gonna fall or not. And so he was running like that, and then he like he didn't like jump on her. He was trying to push out of the way.
Yeah. He was just like, intervening. And, like, intervening, yeah.
He like tried to push, but like when he pushed him, it's like if you tried with all of your strength
to like push against the wall, and then he fell.
But he's uncoordinated, and then he like fell on his butt, and then he started crying more, and then that's when everyone kind of like looked at him.
And everyone was like, okay,
our cousin, and then our cousin was like, oh.
And so okay, so that is relevant, or that is a good thing to mention, because he ran in, intervened, fell because he's fucking useless, crying his ass off, right? So then we all stopped and we were like, okay, that's enough. Sorry, little homie. We're not actually beating up your mom. It's all good. And then she was like, no, it's okay. And she gives him a hug and she consoles him and this and that and whatever. And like a minute goes by where she's like calming him down and getting him to stop crying, and everything's good, and everybody gets up and everybody goes back to their chairs and everybody's chilling, whatever. And then she's like, you okay? And he's like, he's okay. And then she puts him down. She's like, okay, go play. Like, all good, right? And then she turns to the room and she was like, who the fuck licked my face? Because that's what she was upset about.
Like, the whole time she's comforting her kid, she's like,
no, but that was the first thing to address. It wasn't like, fuck you guys. It wasn't like, leave me alone. It was, who the fuck licked my face? And I was like, and I was laughing my ass off, and she was like, you nasty fuck. And she was like, you're fucking gross, Emma. And I was like, that was the worst part of all of that, huh? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, but it was like harmless. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's what makes it funny. So anyways.
You're so dumb.
I realized.
He's a freak.
I realized. Stop saying that. Stop saying that, bro. Stop saying this is my cousin. Anyways.
Okay. No, I didn't mean freak.
Well, okay. Well, that's what that fucking means. A weirdo. So stop saying that.
Okay. He's a weirdo.
I realized I'm such a fucking weirdo that I am comparable to ridiculous satirical comedy fucking cartoons. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
what a weirdo.
It was so funny though in my head because I was like, what kind of fucking psychopath licks people to torture them? And then I was like,
you're like, oh,
me.
I get it.
No, I don't get it. But it was so funny because you would have thought I was actually like cutting her with a knife the way she was like,
the way she was screaming. Dude, yeah. I think that's when her kid jumped in. Like when she started screaming like that, that's what really motivated him.
Oh, that shit was so cute because he was so like,
that was so cute.
He was so distraught. He was like,
everyone knew it's gay. Like everyone was fine. Like nothing bad was happening. Like it was a joke, right? Like no one was getting hurt, but he didn't know that. And he's like, I'll defend you. And like when you really think about it, like it's this tiny fucking person up against all these big motherfuckers.
But he didn't care. It was his mom.
But he didn't care. And he still went. And that's so fucking cute. Like,
yeah, it was good.
It's adorable. I don't know what happened, but just kidding.
Bitch.
We'll cut that out.
No, I'm not cutting it. I'm not cutting it.
It's a joke.
I'm not
it's
cutting
a joke.
it.
I'm sorry.
Nah, he's a kid, so like there's ups and downs to it. But that motherfucker's a pimp. One time, he's the type of kid like he's very affectionate and he loves to like sit on your lap and this and that, or like sit with you and like kind of cuddle and whatnot. But he doesn't give a fuck if you want to cuddle or not, right? So one time with my aunt, his like great aunt or something like that, she was babysitting him. My aunt, motherfucker, that was babysits him. I don't want to say their names. So yeah, there's only one aunt that I have that babysits him.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways.
Our aunt? Sorry, you were throwing me off.
Anyways. So one time I was there at the house and he was there too. And then she's sitting on the couch and he runs up and he fucking jumps on her lap. But like he's like a kid to where like he doesn't understand that he's already like a solid 50 pounds or so. So just throwing that shit onto your lap / belly is like, ugh, like, you know what I mean? And so he jumps onto her lap and she's like, so-and-so, how come you always gotta fucking jump on me and like sit on me? And he's like, well, because I want to sit here. And she's like, nah, but you're heavy. You're like, why do you want to sit here with me? And this is exactly what he does. She's like, how come you always have to sit with me? And he looks at her and he puts his hand on her face, on her cheek like that. And he goes, because I love you. And we were like, what the fuck? And then she was like, and then he fucking goes back to playing on the phone. And he didn't give a fuck. But he literally just told her what she needed to hear for the moment so he can have what he wanted, or so he can have his way. You know what I mean? He just because I love you. Like, and he made a face. He made a face and everything.
Yeah, I could. And then he like completely like
and then went back to it. It's fucking hilarious.
The thing is, he means it too, though. Like, yes, he knows.
Like, he means it, but he knows.
But it felt so like,
no, yeah. He knows. Fuck that guy. He knows. Anyways, speaking of our young cousins, I was in Phoenix this past weekend, and I was hanging out. I was hanging out with my other cousin who's around that age. They're like two of the only kids in our family that are around that age, like of the newest generation. Though they're not.
I think they're not
technically part of the same generation, but yeah, they are.
Not?
Well, on our dad's side of the family, they're the youngest, but no, they're not the same generation. Phoenix cousin is this cousin's mom's generation because his dad is my cousin, and her dad is my cousin.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyways, so El Paso cousin is a generation lower. He's by far the first of his generation. So, anyways, I was in Phoenix hanging out with my cousin. He's like 7, right? Crazy. Thinks everything came from Fortnite. Oh, that son of a bitch, bro. Like, it's not even funny. We saw Chapulín Colorado fucking figurine at a Mexican restaurant, and I was like, yo, do you know who that guy is? Because I was just kind of like, are you cultured? Like, do you know your people? Whatever. And he was like, oh, he's the guy from Fortnite. And I was like, no. And he was like, yeah, he is. And I was like, no, he's not. And he was like, yeah, he has the skin in Fortnite. And I was like, that's not where he's from. Anyways, it happened with like,
I think you're just mad because you're.
It happened with Avatar too. It happened with Avatar too, because we saw like an Avatar or something, and he was like, yo, do you know what Avatar is? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, it's super cool. And he's like, yeah, it's from Fortnite. And I was like, no, it's fucking not. And I was like, it was a show. And he was like, yeah, they made a show after it came out in Fortnite. And I was like, no, they fucking didn't.
The thing is with him, I don't even know if he believes it. I think not.
No. Like, well, that's that's the thing. Like, I don't know if he means it.
Like, I could see it. I could see it very much being like he genuinely believes that, and I can also see it being like he sees that it bothers you. Yeah. So he's like, I think
it's easily both. Anyways, so I was hanging out with him, talking to him and shit. He was like, you have like a middle part going on? And I was like, what? He was like, your hair, it looks like a middle part. And he was like, but you got to fix it. And I was like, how do I fix it? And then he was like this. And I was like, what's this? And he was like, this is the middle part. And I was like, do I look cool? And he was like, no. And I was like, thanks, dickhead. Fucking okay. So anyways, hanging out with him all weekend, right? And then at one point, it's interesting to me because like my generation or a lot of my generation of the family doesn't speak Spanish, but the generation above us does. And it's just like a typical Mexican American thing of like speaking Spanish and this and that, and it matters for whatever reason, right? So then I was curious because this kid, my cousin in Phoenix, his grandma doesn't speak English. My aunt, she doesn't speak English, right? Very much at all. But to my understanding, she's still kind of part of his life, right? And his mom speaks Spanish and his dad speaks Spanish and his sisters kind of speak Spanish. So then I was just like, yo, do you speak Spanish? And he was like, or I didn't want to ask him, do you speak Spanish? I was like, yo, when you talk to your grandma, do you know what she's saying? And he was like, no. But like he has such an attitude of like
He did not
he didn't give a fuck.
Like,
He was just
no.
like, no. And I was like, so when she talks to you, like you don't know what she's saying? He was like, kinda. He's like I know when she says to go get something from the fridge, but and this is exactly what he does. He was like, I know when she says to go get something from the fridge, but like I know that she's telling me to get something from the fridge, but I never know what she's telling me to get. I just know it's from the fridge. So she says, hey, go blah blah, hey, so and so, go get something from the fridge. So then I just go to the fridge and I just grab random stuff. he's like, I just grab random stuff and I grab it and I show her and I'm like, este? And she's like, no. And I grab another random thing and I go, este? And he's like, and I just keep grabbing random things and showing este. Right. And then eventually she's like, yeah, that. And then I give it to her. And then that's it.
That's so funny. It's so funny because whatever she's doing, I'm sure like she's amused by it too.
No,
you know what I mean?
That's what's funny to me. I think she thinks she's like
annoyed.
Dumb. Like I think she probably sees it as like he's trying, so I'll just help him arrive to the proper conclusion. Like he's just getting it wrong. Like he got it wrong. That's okay. No, that's not what I asked for. He got it wrong again. That's okay. No, that's not what I asked for. He got it wrong again. You know what I mean? But he on his end is like, I don't fucking give it. What do you want?
This?
Like he really doesn't give a fuck and he's really not trying to figure it out. He's just like, we'll arrive at the right thing eventually. And she'll say yes. And then that'll be the end of this bullshit exchange. You know what I mean? Like, but it was so funny because he didn't give a fuck. He's like, so I just start grabbing random stuff.
The fact that he knows how to say este, like, but este? Like,
no, he says it right, but he like announces.
Oh, he says it right?
Yeah. Anyways, that shit was hilarious.
Oh, he's like us. The words we do know, we know how to say it right.
Right.
It's funny.
It was so funny. He's like, I know that she's telling me to get something from the fridge, but I don't know what it is. So I just start grabbing random stuff.
That's so funny.
Oh my God, this kid, he was driving me crazy. Here's the thing. He's like by far the youngest in our family in the city that he's in. So he doesn't necessarily have like a whole lot of people to hang out with, right? So like when I hang out with him and when I see him, like we try to actually hang out and like go play basketball or go throw the football or this or that and like really try and like just be cool. He drives me fucking crazy. He's a shithead, but he's also like getting old enough to know, but he's too young to really know. So let me explain. Right after he told me my middle part looks like shit, even though he did it, right? He was like, I need to get something from the truck. And the truck was outside and it was dark. And I was like, okay, let's go get something from the truck, right?
Dark and scary.
So then we go. Yeah. The garage is open. The truck is in the driveway. He goes. He opens the back door of the truck, climbs into the truck, and I was like, classic kid moment. Let me close this fucking door on him, trap him in the truck, right? It's unlocked. He fucking unlocked it. Anyways, he had the keys. Like he knew what he was doing, right? He's like 8 already. He's not that small. So I fucking go to close the truck door, and as soon as that truck door moves, he fucking like loud as fuck and like really high.
He doesn't care.
And the thing is I had just noticed that there were other neighbors outside because it's like a cul-de-sac. So they were right fucking there doing shit with their car, right? They're right fucking there. And he fucking and I was like, what? And he was like, don't close the door. But he knew that he wasn't genuinely scared of the door being closed. He knew that I was fucking with him. Yeah. So he was like, don't close the door. And I was like, I was just playing around. And he was like, and he was like, I know, you motherfucker. Right? And he like looked at me like, do it. I'll scream again.
He doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't like, I don't think he realizes people like the implications of him screaming and you closing the door on him. He just thinks that's making him stop.
No.
I'm going to do it. No?
Watch. Listen to the rest of this story.
Oh my God.
This son of a bitch. I wanted to punch him in the face. Anyways. I was going to close the door. He screamed. I was like, chill the fuck out. There's people here. And then he was like, don't close it. And I was like, I was just joking around. And he was like, all right. And he was like, I can't find my Bart Simpson backpack. And I was like, well, look in the front. He fucking climbs over to the front. Lo and behold, found it. Anyways. And he was like, all right, cool. I got it. And then he starts opening the passenger door in the front to get out of the truck. So I fucking start closing the back door that he fucking originally entered through because we're leaving. And as soon as I start closing the back door, he fucking screams again. And I was like, shut the fuck up.
What?
I was like, shut up. Stop doing that. And he just laughed. And I was like, you're getting out of the truck. why can't I close the door? And he's like, you can. And I was like, ah! And I closed the truck. And then he goes and he was like, and he's all laughing because he fucking pissed me off. And I was like, let's go inside. And he's like, no. And I'm like, motherfucker, get inside. And he fucking like starts backing up in the driveway and he's like, what are you gonna do?
Fucking make
And then
me,
I'm like,
bitch.
and yeah, and I was like,
that's how he means
and I was
it.
like, get inside, bro. And he was like, help. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Or he like screamed. He screamed again. He was like, ah. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Don't do that. And then he's like, he's all laughing his ass off like, ah, look at this motherfucker getting pissed. And the neighbors were still outside.
Were they eyeballing
I don't know.
you?
But the neighbors were still outside. I was like, shut the fuck up. Don't do that. That's not funny. And then he's laughing and he's like, I was like, get inside. He's like, I don't want to go inside. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Get inside. And then I start walking inside and he starts walking inside. And then I look at him and then he runs back and he's all, he's kidnapping me. And he fucking runs. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Don't say that.
Oh my God.
And he's laughing his fucking ass off.
Asshole.
And I was like, man, fuck you. I'm leaving you outside. And I fucking went inside. And I was like, shh. And the thing is, I went inside and he followed immediately after me. He just didn't want he didn't want to go inside because I told him to. You know what I mean? He's like, you. Anyways, I fucking go inside and he follows immediately after me. I was like, nah, whatever. I'm leaving you outside now. And he's like, no, don't leave me out here by myself. And he runs after me.
He's like, I'm going to actually
And I was like,
well,
stop fucking saying that shit. And he's laughing. I was like, that's not funny, bro. That's not funny. And then he's laughing his ass off. And I was like, you fucking dickhead. Like, you're old enough and smart enough to know that that's fucking hilarious. But you're not old enough to know that it's fucking not, actually, because you're actually a child. And I'm actually a visitor here. And the thing is, his dad is not friendly with the neighbors, but decently, like, they know who the fuck is who. I'm never there. They don't know who the fuck I am. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. If you're seeing this, whether now or at an older age, fuck you. That wasn't funny.
Oh, that's funny.
It was so funny. It was so fucking funny. Anyways. All right, you got to talk, bro. I've been talking for 45 minutes, and I got more shit to say. So you got to talk.
Okay. So. But the thing is, when we started, I really remember when I was like, I'll save it for the podcast. You know, I was like, I was going to tell you something, and then I was like, I'll save it. I forgot what that something was. Hold on. Give me a second to try and remember.
You didn't write it down?
No, because it was right before. It was literally when we were on FaceTime before the podcast. So I was like, I'll remember. Oh, guys, I've decided I'm going to live like a broke person until I pay off my debts because I got student loans. I decided every time that I have to pay off one of my student loans, like when I get paid from work, I'm going to FaceTime Oscar because Oscar yells at me. And I need that in my life. Because the thing is, I like spending money, right? But I like spending money on things that make me happy, things that like I can like physically, whether it's like a book or like fucking clothes or whatever, right? Like, or like a fucking whatever in the kitchen.
You did that? And I was like, what the fuck is that?
No. You know what I mean? So I like getting stuff like that. But I have bills and I have student loans. And Oscar is a financial person, right? And he's like, don't be a fucking idiot. Pay off your loans, you know? Especially because some of them already started accruing interest. And he's like, ah. And then he yelled at me. Because I was like, oh, but there's so much money. And I had the money to pay off like certain amount, you know what I mean? But I didn't want to. And he's like, stop being an idiot. And I was like, okay. I am. Anyways, I need to FaceTime Oscar so that he yells at me, pay off my debts. The point is, now I've also have doubled down on the fact that like I need to just stop buying other stuff because I don't need it. Like I have everything that I need to like
just
live
pump the brakes a
comfortably.
bit on like spending freely.
Yeah. Like, and no, the thing is, I think I'm gonna go fucking cold turkey on that bitch. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm just gonna buy groceries and gas and that's it. You know, just so that I could really like fucking put all of the money. Cause I'm like, damn. Cause I can't, the thing is, let me tell you about me, okay? Let me tell you something. I don't know if I've told you about this,
Told you this about me.
Yeah, sure. Words are hard. I can't do like an in-between. You know what I mean? Like, if it's like, okay, only like it's been like 3 weeks, right? I haven't bought a single thing. You know what? I worked hard. I'm gonna buy myself a little treat. There's no little treat. Okay? My little treat is a big fucking treat.
Like, I fucking mean it. Like
I fucking mean it. Yeah, like when I buy shit, like I want shit. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I can't get away with like, I'll only do this. No. I know me too well. There's not an only. Like,
that's so funny.
I'll spend too much money.
Stupid ass.
So, yeah. So I'm going full turkey on spending money, and I'm going to be sad and broke. And also, I baked muffins the other day. This is a new topic, by the way. I baked muffins the other day. And by the other day, I mean literally yesterday. And I have a friend who lives here, right? And so every time I bake something, usually when it comes to like baking, whether it's like cookies, muffins, like whatever, it's never, I am by myself. So like
there's no like
that's not
single serving recipes.
There's no single yeah, like it's a big batch, you know, and even if you cut the recipe in half, it's still fairly large for just one person.
Yeah.
So I always tell her, I'm like, hey, I made some of this, you want some? Hey, I made some of this, you want some? Like, you know what I mean? And so yesterday I was like, hey, I baked muffins, you want some? And she's like, oh my God, yes, like you're like my own little housewife. And it's hilarious because she has like a whole ass fiance, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was just like, dude, it's even funnier that you said that because our sister the other day sent me a fucking TikTok and she was like, when you're a feminist with fucking trade wife hobbies. And I was like,
traitor to your gender. No, I'm just kidding.
Damn. You know what I mean? And then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Like, and then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? If someone was like, oh my God, you'd be the perfect housewife. I'm like, bitch, you don't know me. Okay. I just like baking and I look hot while doing it, but like, that's about all housewifey I get. Okay. I don't clean. I don't like cooking. I just like baking. Okay. Like, you know? But anyways, that's my spiel.
You're stupid.
That's fucking hilarious, right? I just like baking.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any more ideas or more topics? I like when I'm editing the podcast and I'm talking the whole fucking time, I genuinely feel bad because I'm like, damn, I don't even let Sophia talk. But I have more topics.
No, see, I'm fine with you. Like, if what bothers me is when I am talking.
When you actually have something to say and I won't shut up.
And you're like, no, I'm saying, and then you interrupt me. That bothers me. If I genuinely don't have something to say, I'm fine with like reacting and talking back. You know what I mean?
Anyway.
It's when I have shit to say. And you're like, wait, no. I'm like, bitch. You know?
You look so stupid when you do that shit, bro. And you do it every time. You look like cartoony and wacky. Like
that's the point. I'm winding up.
But not like in a cool way. Like the cartoons look cool. You look ridiculous.
That's the point.
Anyways, so I don't normally talk about work on I don't normally talk about
Oscar
work on
broke
here.
Something.
But if you're seeing this episode,
he got fired for selling
I don't normally
cocaine.
talk on work. I don't normally talk about work on here, but if you're seeing this episode, it's because I got a new job that doesn't fuck my shit up. So I could tell the story and it'd be cool. You know what mom did the other day? So I work with like 401ks. And so I help people with their 401k, right? Very simple. I had someone call in the other day and they were like, hey, I'm so-and-so. My mom had an account here with your company. She's dead. I'm calling with my dad. We need to figure out how to move the money, how to get the money moved over into my dad's name because it has to be inherited by the dad. And then he can choose to spend it, to leave it invested, whatever. Not to bring you down. But that's my life. That's my job, right? So she calls me, tells me that shit, right? And then I, secret time, tell my mom and tell like my family about certain clients that I talk to sometimes.
He doesn't tell us like their
I don't tell them names or details
like...
or this or that. Like the other day I had an 80-year-old lady who was saying that her former employer was crooked and they do a bunch of illegal stuff, and she was like, they're crooked, they're Chinese. And I was like, guys, I was talking to this racist old lady earlier. It was crazy. I was telling mom, I don't even remember what the fucking point of my story was, but I was like, oh, I had some lady call in earlier and she was like, oh, I'm so-and-so. My mom had an account with you guys and she died. So I'm calling to see about moving the account.
Did mom cry?
I was on the phone with mom and I was like, she said, my mom had an account with you guys, blah, blah, blah. I'm her daughter. She died. And mom does this. Ew. And I was like, I started laughing because it was so ridiculous. And she was like, what? And I was like, Mom, ew is not the proper fucking response.
Did she misunderstand you?
What the fuck? And she was like, what? And I was like, what the fuck do you mean, ew?
She had to misunderstand.
And she was like, that's sad and like that sucks. Like, what a shitty situation to like be in. And I was like,
but wait, ew.
And I was like, ew is not the word, mother. Like, I was laughing because it was so ridiculous. But I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, and she was like, ew, like that sucks. Like, that's a shitty situation to be in and to like have to deal with and whatever. And I'm like, ew is not the word. Ew is not the fucking word. You have to parent your Aw, acceptable. Aww. Damn, acceptable. Fuck, acceptable. Ew, no. And I was like, what the fuck? I wanted to be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, I can't talk to my mom that way. She'll get mad at me.
And then she'll cry later.
Yeah.
To me.
So anyways, here's another story about how I'm a little bitch. Or I was.
I love these stories.
Fuck, I shouldn't have said that. I think that ruins the whole story. Not ruins it, but gives it away. Anyways, forget. So I had to fill out some shit the other day. And it was asking me a bunch of fucking adult-ass security questions. You know how you have to fill out security questions? So if you forget your login, this and that, whatever. What was the model of your first car? What was the name of your first pet? Blah, blah, blah. I get to that section. And I'm just trying to get a W-2 for my old job, which means I'm never going to log into this fucking website again because I don't work there anymore and I'm not going to. But I have to establish these fucking security questions, right? And this fucking shit kept asking me a bunch of adult-ass fucking questions, Sophia. And it made me feel like a fucking idiot. Because it was like, what was the model of your second car? I'm still on my first, you sons of bitches.
I'm already on my second.
Fuck you. Anyways, and it was like, what is the name of your youngest child's middle name? I don't have any kids.
I have a child. His name's Cyrus.
He's not your child. He's a cat. He's a cat. Anyways,
don't fucking disrespect.
And then it was like
family like that.
What is your spouse's mother's maiden name? Don't have one of those. You know what I mean? And it was a bunch of shit. And I was on the phone with Mom when I was doing this. And I was like, look at all these stupid ass questions. And I was reading all the questions. And it was like, what street did your best friend live on in high school? And I was like, I had two people that I would probably consider to be my best friend. And I know what street one of them lived on. I don't know the name of the street the other one lived on. So fuck
then
it,
just
do
that
one. Right? Yeah. But anyways, there was other shit where it was like, this is the funny one. It was like, what is the first rated R movie you ever saw? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know. And I think that's an old people question because it was the type of thing where like back in the day there wasn't streaming. You had to go to the movies.
You had your ID.
You had to buy the ticket. You had to go to the movies. You had to buy the ticket with the dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I was like, I don't fucking know. And then she was like, what was the first rated R movie you saw? And I was like, I don't know. And she's like, how old are you? And I was like, I don't fucking know. And I was like, first, I think Big O showed me rated R movies before Mom did. And I think I was a kid. But it wasn't like crazy shit. Because even Big O was like, nah. You're too young for that shit. Right? And I was like, honestly, if I had to guess what the first time I was around a rated R movie was, I was like, you remember the Precious Kids daycare? There was one time where we went on like a little field trip for the daycare. And they took us to the movies. And I think it was like the dollar movies. And I was like, and something happened. And now that I think about it, considering the time, I think they probably showed up and they was sold out. It wasn't sold out, but there wasn't enough for like all of us to go to the original movie that we wanted to see. And I was like, here's the thing. We went and we were supposed to see some movie and something happened. We didn't watch the movie we were originally supposed to see. We ended up watching like an adult movie, whether it was like PG-13 or rated R. You were really little. I barely remember anything about it. And I was like, I don't know what happened, but that was the premise of like, we're going to watch a movie that we weren't originally going to watch, and it's not for kids. And then I was like, what do you mean? Like, I can't watch this? Like, this is rated R. This is blah, 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 blah. Or like, my mom's going to get mad at me. And they were like, nah, it's cool. Just watch the movie. Just don't tell your mom. Just don't tell your mom. Just watch the movie. Don't tell your mom. It'll be cool. We'll have a good time. Don't worry about it. And then they were like, or like, if you don't want to watch the movie, you can just cover your eyes. Like, just sit in the theater and just cover your eyes. And I, like a little bitch, covered my fucking eyes during the movie.
Because you were raised right.
And Mom was like,
I would be so proud. Yeah.
And I was like, no, not fucking aw. What a bitch.
Cover my eyes.
What a
I
bitch.
didn't cover my eyes. I probably didn't give a fuck. Honestly,
know
I was
what I
probably too little to like realize it too, though.
And I was like, so here's the thing. I know that was not a kid's movie. And she was like, what movie was it? I was like, I don't fucking know,
remember.
mother. I covered my eyes. Like,
We should ask Celeste. We should ask our sister.
we'll see. I was like, I don't know. I covered my eyes like a little bitch. I don't remember what fucking movie it was. And I was like, there was a few times where I kind of was like doing this, like,
peeking.
This shit, look at me.
Oh my god.
Like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I genuinely, like, for the first like 20, 30 minutes at least, like I was not watching the shit. And I was like, damn, what a fucking asshole I was. Like,
that's hilarious. That's
I think
so
it was
funny.
more so like I was afraid
like
of getting in
PG-13.
trouble with mom. That's a funny story that I've never told. I'm not sure I've even told you that before, but I definitely
No,
never
you
told it on the
hadn't.
podcast.
You hadn't. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. We hope
have
you
another
liked
story.
it. No, we're at an hour already. Save it for next time. That's it for today's episode. Hope you guys liked it. If you really, really want to know what the story is, you'll find out next week. Or you won't. Oscar might forget. Just kidding. No, he won't forget. He's really, what's it called? Disciplined or whatever and organized, and he has it written down, unlike me. But like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll possibly, maybe, potentially see you next time. Wave bye.
Oh, bye. Subscribe.
Bye.